Well, hello and welcome back to Unabashed You, Mike Pittman, Isha Casagrande, and Shaun Conde. How wonderful this is. This is a brainchild of Mike who said, hey, let's turn the tables and let's get a panel together and ask you some questions. So I said, hey, I'm game for a collaboration. Let's go. So here we all are. I get to be the guest today. And all right, take it away, Shaun.
All right. In Seinfeld, Elaine dates a man where every time he hears the song Desperado, he pauses, sort of lost in a long lost memory. Do you have a song that does that for you?
Oh, I thought this was going to be trivia about Elaine, and I was going to tell you that Carl Farbman was the furniture maker, and then I was going to go down a whole rabbit hole. Do I have a song that kind of sends me into
Mm-hmm.
like that place? The first thought that comes to mind, I'm going to go with it, is the song "Soft" by Chuck Mangione, and it's from way, 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 way back in the day. It was a song my mom really liked. And so I associate that real strongly with her. And so whenever
Mm.
I hear that song, I think of her, and that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Aw, love it. Isha?
How fun is that? Well, that kind of surprised me. I was like, oh, what direction are we going with this? I just love you, Rochelle, and I just love your heart. And I have loved watching this creative journey of yours. And so I was thinking about how you have always led with creativity. Like that is something that's really important to you. And I'm just curious, what did creativity look like for you early on in life? Like, how did it shape the work that you do now?
Well, what a great question. I think there's always been that side of me that needed to express, right? And so as a young girl, I was in some plays. I remember seeing a picture, a publicity shot of a youth theater production of Cinderella and telling my mom, Mom, I want to do that. I want to do that. So she got me involved. And then from there, I took some dance. So that was always something I enjoy, just that expression. And then I think I did a little writing in early years as young girls were so romantic and heartbroken over first loves. And so I wrote these very sentimental poems and tears and all those sorts of things. So I think that those kind of started to pave the way, and I've always been one to want to encourage so that I can trace that back to very early years. So I think that's kind of how it started.
And didn't you teach acting classes?
I have been a classroom teacher. I have been the program director of a children's theater performing arts group that where we took performing arts to cities, all or not cities, to all kinds of schools around our county. And I probably did some of that for youth theater. Sure. Yes.
How fun.
I'd say sticking with the creative theme of the moment. What's a fictional character that you've always either aspired to or you drew a big inspiration from?
A fictional character. Um, I would say, you know, this is fictional. It's not really from a book, but the movie Something's Got to Give. I had to think for a second of what that is. Pretty much anything Diane Keaton has done, not everything, but a lot of things. I appreciate how she really shows up as the character, as whoever she thinks the character is. And there's playfulness and there's depth. And then there's always a little bit of humor or whimsy and a little neuroses, which I think is a good little thing to sprinkle on top.
Good topic.
Oh, what's the best meal you've ever had? And or also, was it the food or was it the company?
Okay, I'm going to talk about a meal I had recently. So I'm
Ooh.
not sure it was the best. That's always kind of tough, because
Uh-huh.
I can think of like several different things. But we had dinner at Jake's. So back, Isha, you remember Jake's
Yep.
from Del Mar.
Yep.
We had dinner there last weekend and it was just so delicious. And part of it was definitely the food and the service was incredible. And then the company. So I was with Ron and then another couple, and just the whole night was really wonderful. So I think it's partly food and partly company. And then also, the ambiance, the environment, and is your server, attuned and wanting to take care of your needs, or are they just kind of phoning it in? I like giving good service and I like getting good service.
Looking out at the ocean doesn't hurt much either. That view is pretty spectacular. You could be almost anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't wait to hear about this one because your podcast, Unabashed You, is so powerful, and that's such a powerful word. But sometimes I think people don't completely understand what it means, and I really want to know what it personally means to you and why it is that you chose that.
Yeah, when I turned 16, I decided, oh my gosh, this is my third act. So if you think of, dividing up your life into thirds, what else do I want to do? And I was very afraid of starting a podcast, but I did it anyway. So doing it scared. And so I thought about different names and I couldn't quite land on a name. And then I don't know exactly how that sort of came across my path, but I thought, that word means, in my mind, unapologetic. And I feel like I would like people who come on the show or people who listen to be who they are, not be somebody else, but be more of who they already are. That to me is where I want to inspire, encourage, and that's the best place to show up is being more, being the, filled with all you are, who you are, be that, and don't apologize for it. We spend way too much of our lives like, is this okay? Am I okay? Is that okay with you? Is that okay with you? That shrinking idea, I can't have it. I just can't have it.
Love it.
I do. I had a discussion with you last week about specifically fear and how it was getting in the way of some of what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And I was curious. You seem to me one of the more confident people that I've ever met. However,
Mhm.
everybody has something. What has been your if you can recall your biggest fear that you had to overcome, and if you remember, how'd you get past it?
Well, a few things come to mind. One would be a more recent, and that is turning 60 and deciding to do a podcast. I mean, I just definitely felt like an imposter. I thought, who am I? Who do I think I am? And just, it's so interesting to me the way God speaks to each one of us. And often with me, he'll give me a little phrase or a question or whatever, and it will appear in like multiple ways. So I can't deny it. It's not like, oh, I really like that phrase. It's like, no, it goes by on a bus, on a billboard, or it's in a book, or some character says it on a TV show, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's for me. So the question I got so many times, and I just felt so strongly it was from him, is what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? So I wrote it out someplace where I could see it every day. And I felt like, you can be really excited about something and really scared about something. And both of those things can be true at the very same time. To me, that is a green light. To me, that means go. So I did it and I did it scared. And here we are.
And
It's
here
so
we are.
wonderful. And so to me, it's so wonderful to continue down that path, even if and plus you don't know how it's going to go. You don't know how it's going to go. So, and then most recently, I'm stepping into the coaching arena, and I do have some fear around that for sure. Again, back to the imposter syndrome. Oh my, do I have anything to share? All of those things that make me shrink. But I think no, God will not. He won't relieve me of this dream. So I got to go for it.
Oh, I love
I
that.
like it.
Love it.
Other than the word melange, which we know
We
that
love that word.
you talked
Yes.
about you enjoy, is there another word that you enjoy saying?
Yes, yes. Well, there was one recently and I just rolled it. One thing I really enjoy are people's names. Like, for example, Isha Casagrande, that's just got this
It's a good
rhythm to
name.
it. It's got this rhythm. And then we have a friend in Nigeria, Enitan Balagoon. It's got another,
Mm.
like, really. And then Tululape Oblanitan, that was another one. And Bijou Mugenzi Lucas and Dennis Mukwege. So there are these names and they just conjure up like I want to start moving. Yes, and so names for sure. And then lately there have been a French word, quelque chose, which means something. Um, and I just I know it means some things, a
Oh,
few things or whatever,
Oh,
yeah.
calicachos. And I'm just like, calicachos,
All right.
calicachos. I just like how it sounds. So, yeah, there you go. Those are some words I like saying.
that one doesn't sound French, so that's kind of
Yeah.
interesting that the French word.
Yeah, of course, I'm not doing it with
Calicachos.
an accent. I really am not doing too great with the French accent, but that's the word. Yes.
Oh boy, that makes me want to ask you. I'm going to sneak one question in. Do you speak any other languages?
I speak a little bit of Spanish after
Okay.
however many years we had to have in school, and I'm doing Duolingo with French. So that's why I happen to
Okay.
know quelque chose, quelque chose.
Wonderful. Oh, I love that. Okay. In this current season of your life, like what is just lighting you up right now? You know you're on this path. You know that God is taking you on this journey, but you have a bit behind you. You have a lot to look forward to. So what's totally lighting you up right now?
What's lighting me up right now is the idea of helping women, particularly women of faith, just really step into all that God has for them and to not leave any blessings on the table. That's kind of a huge reason why I want to kind of break into this coaching realm. I say that I want to, let's see, spicy Christian women. How does it go after that? Women of a certain age figure out what's next and what's left
Mm.
because we want next steps, but you also at this point in your life you have to look at, wait a minute, what's left? If I have things I want to do, it's go time. It's go
Ooh.
time. So yes, the coaching is really, I'm in a training program. I'm practicing on the friends that will let me practice on them. So yeah, that's where I'm heading.
Are you learning a lot through it too?
A lot.
Oh, fun.
Yes, a lot. And I do love learning, so it's good for me. Good for
Fun.
my brain.
With the whole interviewing thing, I said in one of the interviews that you find a way to make the ordinary people feel famous. And having said that, do you have a dream interview? Do you have somebody that you've always wanted to talk to, whether you get to do that or not? Is there somebody that oh my God, it would be great to just pick their brain?
Interesting. I don't really, it's so interesting because I love movies and plays and all those sorts of things. And so kind of I see that world, but I specifically just very intentionally made this podcast and what I'm doing around you called them ordinary. I would say extraordinary
Oh, I like that.
everyday people. They're extraordinary everyday people. I'm much more interested in that than I am. I mean, let's face it. If you get to interview a celebrity, they're really just going to promote their latest project. They really don't want to have an in-depth, connecting kind of a conversation. Now, that said, if I ever interviewed Kevin Costner, I think I might pass out before I even got to ask the first question. So I actually have a fear of running into him. Not that we're in the same circles, because I think I'd do a Lucy and Ethel. I think I would just completely fall apart.
Oh, funny.
I
Already
can see it.
gotten through our questions. I feel like we've already learning so much about you, but we're going to dive even deeper
Yes.
with our next round of questions into our deep dive. And my first question is, over your entire life, and I know that it's looking at a lot. Um,
Yes,
that's not
it
a that's not a read as far as how
is.
much you've lived, but just looking over your entire life, like it's to take it all in on one moment is maybe a little bit tougher. But what is a profound change that you've had to make to your character? Um, Either the profound change or a moment that caused a big change in you, and then how does life look different after that change?
Gosh, that is a great question. And I was just thinking about this not too long ago. I was thinking about Ron and I have a blended family, so we both came with kids. And I can remember one of the first, this is a great way to demonstrate what I'm talking about. One of the first Christmases, because it had just been Shaun and I for so long. And so our Christmas tree was, every ornament was ever so just rightly placed. And then when all the kids, so we had 5 kids, when they were all putting the ornaments on, I was very tense. I was like, oh no, those two are close, too close. I wouldn't say it, but they, in my mind, those are too close together. Those are two reds, too close together. And so then I would later kind of do some rearranging, right? Because it needed to, satisfy my whatever expectation. Now I just really don't care. I just really don't care. It's the tree, ornaments are on it. It's actually given me freedom. So caring less, I would say, having more realistic expectations and enjoying more those moments instead of thinking I have to have a tree that looks a certain way. So that I think has been a huge shift. Like somebody recently was like apologizing for something. I'm like, well, you don't need to apologize for that. I mean, in the scheme of things, that's just nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was very insignificant. And so I feel like for me, that has been a really major shift because I want to really invest in and care about the things that actually require the best part of me and not things that are just completely inconsequential to me. So that's been a huge shift.
Well done taking a change and actually adapting and learning and growing with it as opposed to just sort of burying your head in the sand.
Yes, thank you.
Hey
Thank you.
man, that's like one of the beauties of getting older, huh? Is you're just really the priorities shift in a
Yeah.
really big way and very dramatically and very quickly. Okay, so you work with Christian women who really feel to be called more, and you're very magnetic with those people. Like you and I saw each other across the room, and it was just like, sitting there before our mammograms, half undressed, and like, I have to talk to this person. There was like no denying it. And you work with so many interesting, fabulous women. I've heard so many, and men too, but really this question is about women. What do you see that they're really afraid of right now?
Well, it kind of goes back to the whole blooming, blossoming kind of concept. And so one of the quotes I feel like God kind of kept putting in front of me was an Anais Nin quote. Then the day came when the risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom.
Mm.
And that is like, and then there's another quote, something like, a flower doesn't care how the flower next to it blooms, it just blooms.
Mm.
And so it's kind of that same thing. Like, really? I mean, just I I feel like my third act has been my best act so far, and
Mm.
I want other people, women and men, to not be afraid because I feel like, do you really want to miss out on all that God has for you because you're afraid? And fear comes in so many disguises. I mean, we often don't even realize that we're in fear, like self-doubt, comparison, people pleasing. I mean, the list is so long, but the common thread throughout all those things, that's fear. Some kind of fear has gripped you and not let you, like, look at what everything you're doing, Isha. I mean, you're just incredible, speaking confidence into women and the way they show up, not just in what they wear and feeling together, because when you are sort of put together, you do show up feeling your better self.
Mhm.
So thank you for the work you're doing.
Mm. Thank you. Mm.
I think you might have actually answered this question in a way. It's kind of interesting how all the things kind of tie into one another. However, considering how you've built this confidence and the ability to like let life just be, if you could go back and you could either change one moment, have a do-over of any moment, or erase that moment completely like it never happened, what would it be? And would you do it?
Huh. I think the popular answer is to say no, because all those roads led me to where I am today. And certainly there's some truth in that. There are definitely some moments. I'm sure if we sat here long enough, I could start alphabetizing them or putting them in chronological order. But maybe the way I showed up, I didn't maybe show up as my best self, and maybe I was, lost my temper or wasn't as thoughtful or other centered as I could have been. I think that's more. So those are maybe I don't want to call them minor, but big, huge things. No, big, huge things. No, smaller things. Yes.
Mm, like some food poisoning.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel that you are truly understood? And if you do, when do you feel the most understood? And what did it take to get you there? Does that make sense?
I think so. I've recognized this about myself in the past, let's say 10 years, that I really have this deep desire to be understood. So it's like, wait a minute, I need you to understand me. And then once you understand me, do with it what you will. Okay. Now I'm trying to get to the point of you don't really need to understand me unless you want to understand me. So
Mm,
it's kind of like a more of an evolution
okay.
forward instead of, no, I need you to hear this. I need you to see this. If they're interested, well, yes, then let's have a conversation. And I think, Shaun, you said not too long ago, invest in the people who invest in you.
Mm,
And the same would be true with the reverse. If I try and invest in you and you're not really interested, then I need to move on. So I'm not sure if that answers your question. What?
I said that was great.
Oh, okay.
I love all these. We're just all over the place, which is so good. Okay, so I want to know because you
Yes.
and I speak a lot about God, and we always have since we first met. And it's been an interesting journey because when we both first kind of started, we weren't trying to put that so front and center as to not exclude people. And there's definitely been a shift with how you and I both speak to people. And so, my question for you is what is your most favorite moment you've ever had with God? And part two, is there a special place that God meets you? Is there a place that you go in your mind, or maybe it's a walk or a meditation, or is there just something special that you just know when you get there or you hear that? It's just that's all that matters.
Yeah, I would have to say music is where I feel the closest to God and where I feel really connected. And in fact, sometimes I've imagined, like just being in a song and just like, okay, take me just from the song up to heaven. Okay, let's do it that way. Um, like I've been to concerts that have been so moving. They brought me to tears. Toby Mac, Kirk Franklin, Torrin Wells. I mean, it just there's just nothing like it. And I like other kinds of music very much. But there's something about that extra depth, that extra
Mhm.
layer of that music that moves me in a way that nothing else does. I mean, I like, a good sermon, a good talk, a good devotional, those things. The other thing I would say where I feel really close to God is it was introduced to me in the 90s. Some people call it listening prayer, some people call it response writing, and it's where I will do my morning reading or whatever, and then I'll just like write a letter to God, like, dear God, was that really necessary? Or, whatever I just read about, I have questions about or whatever. And I'll just kind of write a little something, and then I just free flow him writing me back.
Mm.
Just, and so I'm not saying it was him, and I'm not saying it wasn't him, but I will tell you, after I've done that, I feel close, I
Mm.
feel heard, I feel seen, I feel loved, all those things. So that's something that I have been very fascinated by, just that exercise. And so those two ways, I think I feel the closest.
Do you have a moment that like absolutely just blows your mind? Like a memory, a time where, or even when you were younger, where just without a doubt it was your choice. You knew that God, like, wow, this is real.
No, there wasn't one moment. I don't ever remember a time I didn't believe. I really don't. I mean, my faith walk has been kind of all over, but no, there isn't like one thing. There have been chapters. I'll call them
Mm.
chapters. And I probably feel the closest geographically when at the beach. So the
Mhm.
beach, just there's something about the water, and especially if it's sunny, and especially if we're in Hawaii and all of that. It just it's very magical and yet it's real. So that would be like the place. But then there are moments with people where you're really, connecting kind of soul to soul, and you're like, oh man, I mean, it's just so
Mhm.
good. It just feels, surely that must be a taste of heaven. How could it not
Mhm.
be?
Love that.
How do you think you'll know um, when this part of the journey is over? I mean, I love being interviewed. I've loved watching all of your stories. It's become a part of you. And you've talked about now moving into the coaching, but do you think you'll know when it's time to leave the interviewing part behind, or do you just are you gonna go until God goes, this is the one?
I do think I'll know. I'll start getting that sense. I have no plans at this time to stop the podcast and the blogging. It has been beyond. I thought, well, surely my mother will listen to this, and maybe my son, and my husband, and so there's three listeners right there. I mean, I never really had an expectation or an impossible goal for what it was going to be. So it still feeds me, it still fuels me. And I for me, the coaching is just a tangent off of this road because they're both very intertwined. So I have no plans at this time. I think I will always want and need and will, follow through on some kind of a creative outlet. I think that's just, it's so enmeshed and ingrained in who I am. I can't imagine not having that. So no plans.
Good, because you're needed.
Thank you, Mike. Mike,
Aw.
this was such a great idea of yours, Mike. And Mike, it took bravery to reach out and say, hey, what do you think of this? And it's like, yes, let's hop on a call. And then the fruition, this is the whole point. You had a little nudge. You
Hmm.
were brave enough to seek what it could be. And
Hmm.
now here we are. That's the whole point right there.
Oh, you have no idea how much that means to me.
Oh
Mm.
my gosh. And I'm so excited for your future because, we're talking about retirement years and all that sort of thing and all the ways that you will enjoy and touch other people's lives. I'm so excited for you.
Looking forward to every little bit.
Yes.
So, when you were in high school and you went to Mission Bay, um, a teacher named Dennis Pugh
Oh,
really took you aside and poured into you and
hmm
really almost became a father figure to you.
hmm
What was it that he gave you, and how do you continue that that legacy and that Christ-like nature, the giving, the pouring into? How do you continue that?
How do I continue his legacy or how did he pour into me?
I mean, his legacy is I guess I see it as your legacy is what you pour into people, right?
Right.
So, what did he pour into you, and then how do you continue that?
It's so interesting because, I come from a single parent family. My mom raised my brother and I, and, my dad was not really around much. And, he's still alive. We have what I would call a pleasant relationship, but it was not edifying. It was not hands-on. It was not any of the things you would think or wish for yourself or for your children or what have you. And yet there was something in Coach Pugh, Dennis Pugh, who I had him for 10th grade English, and he was a coach, but he also taught English. And I, it just, it mystifies me because I didn't play sports. He wasn't my coach. He was baseball and football. So why me? Why did he? And he poured into other people. It's not like I was singled out or anything, but I remember I will never forget this. One day he said, "You're going to college." And I went, "What?" He goes, "You're going to college." And I went, "I am?" He said, "Yes, you're going to college." And I went, "Oh, okay." I mean, because somebody that I looked up to believed in me and told me. I mean, that was just his way, you
Hmm.
know? So he planted that seed. And then later he said, "You're going to be a teacher." I said, "No, I'm not." And he goes, "Yes, you're going to be a teacher." I was a teacher. But I didn't, it's not like I went into teaching because he said, "You have to go into teaching." He just, again, that belief, somebody else seeing you
Mm.
and believing in you. And he was, oh my gosh, we stayed friends up until his passing almost 5 years ago. I mean, seriously, we would meet for lunch, we would encourage each other. It became, more of a peer-to-peer relationship, but he was just there for me in a really hands-on kind of way, as he was for a bunch of people. And there was a what was there? They dedicated the field to him at Mission Bay and renamed it in his honor. And especially the guys that got up there and talked about, he was this kind of a coach and that kind of a coach. And he believed in me. He believed in me. That was the ongoing theme. And he
Hmm.
had high expectations of everybody in his circle. No, you perform well because that's what I expect. You blew it. Okay, let's move on. I mean, I just had not had that from a male figure before. And it changed the course of my life for sure. So I miss him. I miss him terribly. So yeah, I think expecting the most from myself and expecting that from the people, especially the farther in you are, to show up your best, not perfection, but to show
Hmm.
up your best. I just love that. And he was your godfather too.
Oh,
You're
aw.
definitely, yeah, you're definitely enacting his legacy and what he poured into you. So well done.
Well, and as you were talking about him, I was like, it really was almost like you were talking about yourself. So he did a
Oh,
very good job of leading you because I see all of those characteristics and traits in you.
oh gosh.
And Michael started earlier talking about how you're one of the most confident women that he's ever met. And I really have to agree with that because you are so secure in your intention in life and what your goals are for people. And you do have sweet expectation. I've gotten a little knock knock. Do you really need to be posting that, Isha, before?
Okay.
And you always say it with love, and you make me stop and go, "Oh, she's right. She's right." So I love that though, because it's such a beautiful way to do it, right? Where it's like when we have the good expectations on people, we give them permission to be good, to
Yeah.
be goodness, and to be reminded that really we were created for goodness.
Yeah.
So what would you say to a woman who is listening right now who really she knows that she is made for more? She just really does. She has this feeling. Maybe she's not as tapped into it as we are, hearing that voice that's telling us, but she's just waiting for permission. What would you say to her?
I would say our next series is called Permission to Want More.
Ah, look at
That's
that. We
what I
didn't
would
even mean to do
say.
that.
No, we didn't even mean to do that. No, and that really came courtesy of Mike in the conversation that Mike and I had about what is next and what is left, and that the permission to want more. It's okay to want more. And I want each of us to see ourselves in as much as the way God sees us as we can. We're human, so it's not exact, but to see ourselves more that way, less fear-based, is what I would definitely say. So yes, and we're all four of us are giving you permission right now. You have permission, and a lot of it has to do with your thoughts. And so that's part of what I want to do in coaching is zero in on some thought work, because the feeling that you have, you trace it back to the thought, right? And the thought is usually based on a fact or circumstance, but now we have to shift your thoughts so that it can match better with what you actually want and who you actually are.
Love it.
I don't know that I have a final question. Just a thank you. I remember when I first got invited to your show. We and I'll say we as men, we tend to have we'll puff up real quick. Oh gosh, what can I bring to her? And I realized about two questions in that I was the one being blessed. So my final thing to say to you in this circle is thank you, because the blessing has been mine. Every time I come to you and I talk to you, I receive. And my intention sometimes is to bring stuff to you. And again, your confidence transcends, and
Oh,
God transcends through you. So thank you for letting me be a part of
oh,
this,
oh.
and just be just a little piece of what you've got.
Thank you, Mike. I mean, for me, it's likewise. Every guest I've ever have had on it's been a very free-flowing back and forth kind of a thing. That's why I like to zero in on people who are extraordinary everyday people, like all of us sitting here. We all bring a lot to the table. We all have a lot to offer. And so having real connection and having real conversations and then playful too, because that's fun. I think that's the best part of life. And so thank you, Mike. I've enjoyed every conversation I had with you. And again, look at what you've done here. That's what makes your retirement years going to be so great.
Can't wait.
Yes. Shaun, is that all our questions?
I believe so. Anything else? Otherwise, this was a delight. We're so glad that you are in our lives, and that we got to know you just a little bit more.
Yes, and even you, who,
Even
you know me so well, you still got to know me a little more. And I love the different circles, Shaun, Isha, and I can't wait to see Mike in real life because he's got a big hug coming for sure.
100%. And
Yeah,
I'm
and
a
I
big
want,
guy, so that's a lot of hug.
yeah, that's a lot of hug. That's good. And I want to meet Jennifer and have you meet Ron and all those things. So, yes, I just could not be more thrilled. And to me, my word for this year is awe, AWE. So like this. This is awe to me, the way that God works, the way he brought us together through Mike, the way we're having this conversation. I'm in awe.
Mm,
I
great. I
look
love
forward
it.
to seeing it even more.
Yes. Well, thank you all. So very grateful, so appreciative. Thank you.